Hi there. Welcome to Tech Talk Weekly. I'm Bob from Creation Station. This is our weekly show where we talk about 3 or 4 interesting tech topics in the news. Find you something fun to keep your mind a little bit occupied this holiday season and get you on your way in about 20 minutes. My guest for the day has not been able to get in yet. He should be in shortly, we hope. But I did want to get in and start with the episode because we have only 3 stories, but they're pretty interesting, including if you ever want to hook a computer up to your brain and it's not the story you're thinking of. If you already have seen the other stuff that happened, scary stuff that happened earlier this week. But I'm going to get in started here with our first topic of making films. And this is from Rest of World, a great website out there for you. I've talked about this place before, where they do news stories from the rest of the world, from the global south, as one of the terms is. And in this case, we're talking about Nigerian filmmakers, true Nigerian princes. You gotta think about it. They have found out that they can do better by broadcasting their films, uploading and putting them on YouTube, to have them up there and being able to display them rather than going to Netflix, Prime, Amazon Prime, Showmax, the combination HBO Max, Showtime type of things that are out there, and the other streaming services are available in the rest of the world that we don't necessarily get here in the United States and see. So there's a couple of points about this story that I want to talk about. One is that they are able to create and make their own movies, post them to YouTube, and everyone in the world can see them. It's not restricted just to a particular location. There's no geographic restriction on who can see them that way. And that's one of the reasons they started moving to there, but it's not the key reason. The key reason is actually piracy, because if they tried to show their movies in a regular movie theater that is in Nigeria or anywhere else in Africa, they had so many people who would be trying to film or trying to pirate the movie from that screening that they would lose a lot of money. Then they went straight to DVD, physical media. Well, I know that that's another topic of conversation with a lot of people is, no, we need to get away from digital and go to physical media. We go back to physical media because look at what happened with Sony taking away these films, and Amazon just had some films get taken away. It's not necessarily that the companies are taking those films as much as losing the rights to distribute them because of the way contracts are written up and things. We talked about that on a show a couple of weeks ago. And so going to a digital version instead of the physical versions. And great, excellent. And Chris made it in. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry for being a little late.
No, hey, this is the way the public service works, right? This is what happens.
That's right, yeah.
So all I did was I just started going over the first story here on the Nigerian film distribution idea for this. And I was talking about the idea that we have they tried to go into movie theaters and it didn't work right for them. And then they went to physical media doing DVDs. And what ended up happening is those DVDs would get purchased in Nigeria, like Lagos or whatever, shipped to the United States or China or some other place where they could just make mass market pirated copies of their DVDs and then resell them. And so the only way the people in Nigeria could make money was to resell their own films at a cheaper rate than the pirates could sell. And I was just like, when you were reading this one, Chris, what did you think about the idea that you can make a feature film and only make $1,000?
Yeah, it's I found the whole article to be very interesting and kind of crazy when you really read about all these things that happen that you don't even think about. But yeah, that you could make that much money, only get $1,000, and then based on those are just the Nigerian views just on from YouTube, and it's a completely different story when it's a U.S. audience and they get away a lot more money. So yeah, I found that whole situation to be very interesting, it'll be interesting to see how it evolves too, as slowly we're moving away from physical media to everything being digital. So
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the idea. I mean, they moved away from physical media because it's harder to pirate these things if it's not physical.
exactly.
But then they do have they are running into the same idea problem that I was just talking about with Sony or Amazon taking your stuff down because of distribution deals, and not having Amazon or Sony doesn't have the right to continue to distribute the material. It's owned by the copyright owner. In this case, Apta TV Plus, which is a Nigerian YouTube film channel, they have a 1.69 million subscribers. And they then take those subscribers and they push movies out to all those people. But then if they have a movie that's not performing well, they will just pull it off their stream. And it's like, how are you going to win if you need to be a big streamer. You need to be able to get some notice out there so you can, like you said, so the people in the US or somewhere else will notice your movie and watch them there.
Yeah.
I'm like, man.
Yeah, and it's just it's a great way, especially with YouTube, how it can help people, democratize and get ownership of their, the material and their IP and everything like that. And it just makes sense when after you're done reading, it's like, okay, yeah, that obviously makes sense. You can make more money and protect your copyright and everything just doing it through YouTube and avoiding the whole physical media entirely. Yeah.
So I'm dropping the links into the chat now for you, so that everyone gets a chance to go log on to these, because these next two stories that we've got are kind of deep, kind of crazy, just like this one, where on the surface you're like, well, why the heck wouldn't you just put it on DVD if you're afraid of piracy? And no, it's actually more pirates on DVD. Here's one for mice in VR. And I know, like, the graphic that they use here is very cute and very cool. We do VR in Broward County a lot, don't we, Chris?
We certainly do. And yeah, the first thing I thought of when I saw that image on there is like, is that the new Ratatouille movie that's coming out or something?
Oh, awesome. That is a great one. I love that. So this is actually at Northwest University. They created a new virtual reality headset setup for mice. And I know you're like, why would they do this? It's proven, actually. Dogs, cows, mice, several creatures out there that they have put VR goggles on, that they react to the stimuli in VR. They recognize it. They see the images. They are able to interact and do stuff with it, given their limitations, capabilities, etc. In this case, it is a question of, and they came up with the cool acronym, immersive miniature rodent stereo illumination VR. And that is that they put a little treadmill, and here is the actual image of what that kind of looks like for the mice. They are on a treadmill running, and they have screens surrounding them so that they feel like they are immersed. They feel like they're out there. And then they have a dot that simulates what an owl or a hawk would look like as it's swooping down on the mice. And they proved that this is not a learned behavior, that mice being attacked from above is an instinct. It's just built-in behavior that all mice have, and they will they will react automatically on the visual stimuli alone. They don't need any sound, they don't need smell, they don't need anything. Just that visual of that dot getting bigger to them triggers that response.
Yeah, it's a very cool story and article, and I wasn't actually too surprised that you could get rats or pretty much almost any animal to think that the VR, what they're seeing is real.
Yeah.
Because especially since we have virtual reality here in the main library, and we've all seen those videos on YouTube reacting to VR for the first time, and they think they're falling off a cliff or being scared by a shark or something like that. It's very easy to trick our minds into believing what we're seeing is there, when even if we think we know that it's not real. So
how many kids have we seen in the lab start yell when the dinosaur shows up?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I mean, it is a thing that is just built into people, and you don't need any of the fancy extra stuff. All you need is a very basic headset, We've got VR at Main Library, at the Pompano Library, the Margate Library, the Sunrise Library. So come on in if you haven't experienced it at home, and come try these various headsets out and see what the big deal about it is and why would a mouse actually care about this, which is kind of important also. And that's the weird thing, is they can now figure out the next step in this experimental phase with this is to figure out how mice in this VR environment react to being the predator. So then putting the insect out there or whatever and having them, will they pounce on it? Will they, react with all those predator instincts that they have as well as the prey instincts that they have? And how ingrained is it? Because it turns out that, like they mentioned in here, that it's really interesting to see that being, by the way, the actual real, oh, stop, we're not doing any cookies. The real actual article and everything for you in the show notes, as always, so that you can make sure you go check out the real thing and not just somebody's actual interpretation. Don't take my word for it. Go read this study. If you really, it's trust me, it gets deep, and I'm like, okay, oh, wait a minute, oh, hey, wait, yeah, wait, oh, you need to take care of that, oh, wait, and then the part about being a predator, and I'm like, because it turns out being a predator for a lot of creatures is not instinct, it's learned behavior. So that's why they really are excited about this kind of stuff that's happening here. So I don't know, Chris. Do you think we're going to be living in a VR thing? Are we ready? Is that Ready Player One? Which
I think eventually it's going to get to that point. I just hope it's not as the horror stories you see out there, like the worst case scenario where we're all like stuck in our chairs and end up becoming like living our entire lives and not moving from our chairs ever again.
Well, we'll be like the mice here, where we're all on little treadmills running in VR.
Let's see. Maybe the Matrix was foretelling the future. Who knows?
Oh, I'm glad I don't watch movies. Which is weird considering the article here and what's happening later on in the month, right? The final story for the week is another horror story. Maybe, could be a breakthrough. This could be this is one of those stories that, do we look back on it in 10 years from now and say, this was the real start? There was an article last weekend about the whole Neuralink thing that Elon Musk's companies are putting out, and it's a weird story thing, and that is not legitimate science, and for the most part. This here really is. This is a full-blown computer brain hybrid that is working, and it's not killing anything. It's not trying to jump over hoops and go through barriers all at once. This is building step by step. And they prove that they can do voice. Now, they're not speaking. Let's be clear about this. This is just a computer chip and brain cells. So they're kind of like, what's the actual word they use? Is let me make sure I can pronounce it right. Organoids.
Organoid, yep.
Because these are things that are brain cells, but they are not a brain. They're not a real brain. They're not that advanced that it can just instinctively react to things. But by making sure that they could connect this with actual computer chips and run a little bit of AI through it, because you knew there had to be an AI angle to this, right? They're able to bridge those two things together so that when you hook up a microphone or speakers in this case to do sound, it takes those electrical impulses from the sound and can process it and understand that this is a sound and a very basic on off and those sorts of things. And it is crazy.
Yes. Yeah, my first reaction after reading this article is like, oh, okay, this is maybe because I've watched too much science fiction growing up, but I was definitely thinking, okay, this is how Skynet and the Terminator get started. So, but no, it's a very fascinating technology, and this could be, like you said, It has a lot of great potential, but also has a very scary aspects to it when you really start thinking about it. Like, this is
Yeah.
how AI and everything gets started. So yeah, it's very very fascinating article.
I think and it's not so much that it is, like I said, it's on and off and things like that.
Mhm.
They do get into some really in-depth, being able to tell which people are talking, because these organoids are reactive enough to know. They used 8 different voices and 240 different recordings of these
Mhm.
various voices and stuff. So I know this is important because a lot of my science friends that I follow online are all like, "Oh my God, you got to go see this. This is an amazing study. This is so cool, all the stuff." And it is something that they could use to help leverage how fast an AI can learn
Mhm.
and what they get a chance to actually achieve with that, rather than what we've seen from all the chaos at OpenAI last month and all those other talking about,
Mhm.
where AI is going. I don't know,
Yeah.
Chris. Tell me about that. Tell me how you feel on that one.
Yeah, it's I'm definitely on the side of the camp that I'm very impressed and very find it very interesting where AI can do and its potential and all the things could help us improve as far as humanity and our sciences and pretty much all aspects of our life. Really, it is one of those fundamental technologies that it's almost like inventing electricity or the light bulb. It will change
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
But at the same time, yeah, I do feel like I'm cautiously optimistic. But at the same time, yeah, maybe we are moving a little too quickly on that technology, and our laws can't really keep up with it. So, yeah,
there
I'm
you.
definitely watching
Yeah,
out for all those things.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The laws haven't caught up to social media yet.
exactly.
How are they going to catch up to AI?
Hmm.
Yeah, we're just nowhere near. In case there was a story that happened at the end, last like Wednesday, it was. So we couldn't include it in the show because we only do the most recent week. But the
Hmm.
EU has a new AI law that they're in the middle of promulgating, and it'll be 2025 before it's finished and actually published and done and in effect. And so, if the last year of AI has shown us how fast things can
Yeah,
change, can you imagine what it's going to be like in the next 2 years as these things grow and get better and
yeah. By the time they pass that,
more
it could already
integrated?
be
Yeah,
outdated. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's just going to be,
definitely.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just going to be craziness. So let's take a moment here at the end of the show. I want to make sure we do, because Chris here is the head of Creation Station at Main Library. He's head of the big main lab down here. So tell us, Chris, what do you actually do and what's going on down there?
Yeah, great. Yeah, the creation station here at the main library. We are a maker space, technology space. We are pretty much the premier space to get all those things done here at the library. And the great thing about it is being the library is all of our services are for free. So we have cool technologies like 3D printing, virtual reality, large green screens where you can take pictures and video and edit the backgrounds to whatever you like. We've got robotics. We do everything STEM related too. So we even do arts and crafts, and we've got the cricket machines, sewing machines. You name it. We've got a little bit of something for everybody here at the creation station here at the main library. We do hold classes and events on a regular basis. Of course, during the holidays here, we slow down a little bit because everyone's else, spending time with their friends and family. But we do have one last event coming up. Actually, this Saturday, we'll be doing a holiday Christmas and green screen photo shoot. So customers, members of the public, anybody can come in, friends, family, whoever. We can take free pictures in front of our green screen, and we'll be able to customize your background to whatever you like for the holidays. And we'll be providing free photo prints to everybody, so at least one.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's gonna be a very
Oh,
fun event.
this is a really fun event. If you have not been here and done this,
Mhm.
and I know you're thinking, Bob, Chris, what are you talking about? I've got those apps on my phone. I can just do this with no problem. Maybe you can, maybe you can't.
Mhm.
We will make sure that this is the library. We keep your stuff private. We're going to give you one physical thing. We're going to email you the original digital file. You can go out and do whatever you want with it. But if you're like, I don't know how to do that, come on in. Chris will teach you how.
Yeah.
Chris will show you exactly what to do, what our recommended apps are, all the different types of backgrounds you can use without getting AI involved directly. Although AI is probably involved in a lot of the back end of these.
I'm sure it is, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're definitely all about teaching the basics here, getting people started and power to the people. So yeah, it's fun times. Even if you're just curious, that's really all you need to have is that spark of curiosity, and we'll take it from there and get you on your way.
See, Chris is my kind of guy. There we go. This is awesome. Thank you so much for being able to break away from things and get in to talk with us for a little while, Chris.
Happy to, yeah.
If there is someone you want to see featured on the show, a librarian or a library, reach out to us. creationstation@broward.org. We'll see everybody next week. Have
Take care, everyone. Happy holidays.